Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Now I have got my Kendra's Card Challenge monthly mystery card kit, and it is a sampler. Now this kit is a benefit of the all access tier from Kendra's Card Challenge. She's got a QRL code on here and it shows you what is included in the kit. And so we're just going to open it up and take a look at it. But this is one of the benefits from being a paid patron with Kendra. Now you can be a unpaid and still get the cutting guide and the sketches, but you get lots of extra perks and benefits if you are a paid member. And this all access tier gets you this monthly sampler kit. You get a chance to win additional prizes and shout out on challenge videos. You get 2 years worth of bonus printables. You get access to download to previous challenges up to 2 years. You also get a printer friendly version of the PDF and just some general support and inspiration. So I'm just showing you all the little bits and pieces that are included in here. And then she's given me some pattern paper and some cardstock. We've got one here that looks like she's paired nicely together, the pink and the purple. And then we've got a yellow and a green. And we've got a kind of a plaid that has multicolors in it. And I'm going to pair these up together just like she's laid them here. And I'm going to grab a cardstock for this one so that we can just make 3 cards. So I'm going to grab some of my cardstock from my panels, and I've got one that's going to match nicely here, and I'm just going to bring it in, and we're going to make 3 cards. Now we are going to pair this sampler kit up with the challenge sketches. And so I real quickly am going to kind of pair the elements that were in the kit with the pattern paper and just figure out what my layout is and see what matches nicely. And then I'm going to go to my sketches and say, what sketches can I make with the items that she has sent me? And I actually came up with them pretty quick. Now the one I wasn't sure where I was going to put the one little Nomi, but I'll wind up putting 2 of those little Nomis on the yellow card. So anyway, I've got sentiments, and I've also got 3 embellishments, which is going to work out perfect. Now I lay that second Nomi there, but it doesn't really match because it's more of a pink pattern, but it will match with a yellow one. So I'm going to go to look at my sketches and then decide what I'm going to do. So I've looked at my sketches. I've brought in some additional elements for this Hello Spring. We're going to use this sketch 3, and I think that's going to work nice. For the pink one, we are going to use sketch 15, and for the green one with a plaid, we're going to use sketch 14, and we're just going to pull them together. Now, I'm going to modify a little, this one here a little bit because my pattern paper that would go diagonal is not as large as what the sketch shows for. So I know I need to cut my yellow pattern paper down so that I can kind of create that diagonal. Now I will create a diagonal on this, but it will not be kind of from corner to corner or kind of how the sketch shows, but it will be close enough that it certainly would pass for the sketch and be fine for the contribution into the challenge. So see what I'm going to do? I'm just going to lay this across here like this, and now I've got something that looks like sketch 3. So I'm just going to get some glue, and I'm going to glue it down on my yellow pattern paper, and then we will snip what's hanging off on that panel. And then this will give us a similar look to sketch 3. And it really, she just paired everything beautifully. She did the work for me with putting such great pieces of ephemera and coordinating cardstock to go with it. So it made it simple. And then having the sketches, that just kind of wrapped it up for me. So I'm just trimming these off. And then we've got the basis for sketch 3 together here. Now sketch 3 does show a sentiment above the diagonal, but I've got my sentiment on my diagonal, so I don't need that. I brought in my glue press. It is not working. It doesn't work well in winter for me. And I'm just going to bring in my Barely art and get it laid down on there. And so we're just going to have a bigger frame around our panel than what the sketch shows, but it's perfectly fine. Now I forgot that there are some strips that go on around this diagonal, and I have brought in some pill-off strips, and I'm going to use these on a couple of the cards to kind of mimic what the sketch shows. So for this one, we're just going to put a strip on the top and the bottom of our diagonal piece, and this will help pair my card up with the sketch so it looks a little bit closer to the design. So I could have laid them on there before I glued the panel down, but I didn't. So I'm just going to take and use my little precision little scissors there and just snip it off. And it'll be just fine. And then here you can see I've got the two little gnomies laying down there because one's green and one's yellow, and I think they need to go on this particular card. So I'm going to put one down at the bottom and one up at the top. I was trying to decide, do I want to stick together or apart? And I decided to just go corner to corner diagonal and just kind of fill in some of that yellow space on there. And I think it's super cute. What a fun, bright, springy card. So there we go. Super cute. I'm going to bring in a card base and get it laid down on here. And then we'll have this card done. Now the other two I don't wind up dragging in my card bases, but we definitely get the sketches completed. So just going to get it lined up, give it a good press, and there we go. Isn't that cute? So that is sketch 3 of Kendra's Card Challenge 21. Now, to fully participate in the challenge, let me talk about Kendra's Card Challenge. She gives you a cutting guide in which you can take 6 pieces of 6x6 cardstock and follow the cutting guide, and it will yield the pattern paper for 15 different sketches. And along with the cutting guide, you do get the sketches. And if you create all 15 and you take a single picture of all 15 cards and submit it into the challenge, you have a chance to win some prizes. Now you can submit it into the challenge by following there's a QRL code on the cutting guide for each month, one for January, one for February, and one for March of this quarter. And you can click on it, and that's how you enter your cards into the link and party. And then if you want them to be showcased on Kendra's video, you'll want to upload that to the Facebook group as well, and that's how you can participate in the challenge. So this sketch calls for a couple of strips to be laid on our panel, and I just took some trim pieces that I had die cut out laying in my craft room already. Basically, I just brought in some scrap things that were already laying around my card room or my craft room to finish off these cards, and was able to just grab some scraps and pair up to kind of recreate, the sketches with the items that I have. So I'm just going to snip these off, and these are going to be the strips that this card sketch shows. We'll just get some glue laid down on there, and we're going to get it laid down on our purple panel, and then we're going to bring in our little Nomi there. And we've got a fun sentiment to go with it. And we've got a really pretty card. I like the purple and the pink paired up. So I'm just going to glue this Nomi down on this pink circle. The sketch does call for, it looks like 3 layers of circle, I think. And I've got 2 here. I'm going to go ahead and bring in a white circle as well and layer that up. And then it will kind of match the sketch a little bit more closely with that extra layer on there. And I think it helps it to pop. And it ties those white strips in as well. So we'll just get this laid down on here. Now she did include 3 gems in the kit. And this sketch actually calls for 3 gems, and I'll get them added as well. And we're just going to get our little sentiment laid down on here. I think this is hanging with my Nomies. And then here's our little 3 gems, and they're pink, and so they're just perfect for this particular card. And like I said, it matches the sketch very nicely. And there we go. And so I'm going to bring in the sketch and just kind of point out the elements. So I've got the circles, and I've got the strips, and then we've got the gems, just like the sketch. I think this one closely matches it. Very fun. So we're just going to move on to our third one. And I've got a couple strips of the yellow there I just need to lay aside where I had trimmed that panel down. And now this one calls for an oval or any large shape is what that says. And it's got these stripes on here. So when it calls for like a circle or an oval and it says any large shape, you can just bring anything you want. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this die cut piece, and it's chipboard. It's a pretty solid piece that's included in there. Now this called for strips of paper to be laid across there, and this is where I'm going to use the peel-offs again. And it actually showed 5, but the strips that she had on the sketch were thicker than what I'm laying down here. So I'm going to go ahead and lay just 6 down and just kind of have it fill up the, the card base a little bit more than what these thin ones would. So I'm just going to get them laid down on there. And I can get 2 strips out of one of these peel-offs by cutting it kind of in half. We've got a little extra on there, but we're just going to line them up real carefully. And with this one, it had the plaid paper, so it was super easy to get it lined up fairly straight because I could use the lines on the plaid paper to help me kind of keep it straight. And I like the peel-offs on this particular sketch because it adds a little sparkle to it. These are glittery looking peel-offs, and so they're adding a little extra sparkle and shine to this card. And we'll just keep adding. And it kind of made sense to me to go ahead and just use that. I do save the peel-off strips when I cut them down and lay them back down on the carrier sheet, but I thought, well, we might as well just add this on here and just snip off that little bit and just use this one. So that's what I'm doing. So there I'm pointing out we've got 6 instead of the 5 that is shown on the sketch, but this is still perfectly acceptable. Kendra wants you to make them your own. She gives some tips. It says rotate or flip the card sketches to change up the layout. So you can, make it a landscape instead of a portrait or whatever. She says change any of the elements with different shapes or adjust the size of the sentiments to fit your needs. Larger mats can be used to create, or smaller mats, or you can die cut words out or shapes to save on supplies. And she says make it your own. And that is part of the challenge, and it is perfectly acceptable, and you can still enter your cards in. Super fun. I've been playing with Kendra's Card Challenge for a long time, and it really is it's a fun challenge to play with. And every quarter she comes out with a new cutting guide, new sketches. She also has bonus printables. In addition to this card kit, she also has bonus printables that are available. And to get the bonus printables, you have to be either an official, which is a $5 tier, an all access, which is a $10 tier, or the VIP, which is $25. You can get it, but that's how you get your bonus printables. So for $5 a month, you can get, the bonus printables, which are super fun because she creates some really neat ones, and you can make a lot of cards with them as well. So for this, again, just bringing in scraps, I'm going to layer this little pink scalloped trim on the bottom of this Happy Birthday Know Me sentiment that she sent in the kit, and just kind of add a little bit of embellishment to it and get it laid down on here. It's a little different than the sketch, but it certainly is close enough. So I have got 3 little fun spring card panels here, and I think they're super fun. I love the colors. I'm excited to be working with these colors and kind of moving on. Here we go. Here's the sketch. And you can see I have mimicked it, and I think it looks pretty good. So let's look at our 3 cards. Very fun spring cards, super cute. So thanks for watching. Here's a close-up of the pictures, and if you like, please consider hitting the like. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.